Thank you. Thank you. All right, so we got a show here tonight. All right, we got a show here. This show is brought to you by AI. It is AI generated. None of us are real. I got to go around the horn here. Brian Massey.
Hello, Axel High Tax. I've got my new hat on.
Wow. Axel.
Thanks to Pearl's Press and Willoughby providing me this new hat.
Yeah, that's
Available
awesome, man.
to all.
That is awesome. Nancy, Mara's with us, and your husband's around somewhere.
He's here. He's always around.
He's always around. I think he's out back there swimming a little bit. We got a couple
a little
of...
bit. Yep.
All right, we got Christina. Help me out again. What is...
Commando.
Commando.
You can just call me Commando.
I was going to say that's better.
I like that a lot. I like that. Christy Commando. I can get... That is good. That is a good one there. So, and you are in...
I'm in Perry Township.
You're in Perry Township.
Perry Township.
I got to keep all this stuff straight because we got... and also we have Curtis Curd with us here. You are in Perry Village.
Village.
That is correct. I am in ground zero of Thursday.
Right. So we got a... But does a Perry exist? That's what I want to know. Does Perry exist, or is it just a village and a township? Is there really a Perry?
There's
Anybody
actually
know?
three.
Right, yeah.
This is Perry Township, which was the original, and then out of that came Perry Village and North Perry Village.
Yes.
All right, so we got Perry Village, Perry Township, and North Perry
Village. Yes.
Village. And we got a lot of Perrys, but there is no Perry.
Well, that's what we call Perry. Perry Collective is all three
Oh,
of us,
that's all
so-
that together
yeah.
is Perry. I
Yes.
got you. All right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, very good. All right, so tonight we're going to be talking about what's happening in Perry Township and Perry Village and stuff with the data centers.
It's all Lake County, though, Joe, right? That's all Lake County.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
We were
all
talking
Lake
about
County.
Perry. I mean, there is a Perry County in Ohio, but this is Perry.
Yeah,
No,
there's
there's a Perry, Ohio.
South County, too.
Right, yes.
Yeah,
Perry
you
Lake
guys are
County.
getting me confused now. I don't even know where we're at.
Just think of where
You
the
got
Perry
me all
snacks
messed
are. Think
up.
of the Perry nuclear plant, Perry.
That's
how
right.
you
go.
Perry
Right.
Nuclear Power Plant. House Bill 6. House Bill 6. Remember that? Big political history. And it's happened out there in Perry. Gee whiz. All right. Guys, there was a meeting that took place. This is what we want to talk about here. Let's we can kick this thing off here with the meeting, and I do have some information on it here. Let's start with this one here.
275,000 gallons a day. About 5 million.
Okay, so I've got stuff spread out from that meeting. This first here, the reason I put this up was because the water usage from this data center that's going to be built in Perry, unless, people like yourselves put up a fight and the mayor changes his mind and everything. This thing here is 275,000 gallons per day. Somebody was quoting it at 5 million. But I'll tell you what, these big data centers, this is going to be a monster,
Yes.
by the way. It's probably going to be closer to 5 million because the big ones use at least 1 million gallons of water. And this one out there in Perry, 220 acres in size. So this ain't no little wimpy data center. Here's the other thing. I just want people to understand when we start talking about data centers. There's basically three kinds. And the first two, who cares? Those are
Right.
the old, outdated. They are just data centers. They're like hard drives. They store information. But this new breed, this guy is all with the AI, all right? And when we get into the AI, we're talking about mega sizes, okay? This is a mega size, and this is where we're getting into territory that no one's been in before. So if anybody says that they can tell you about data centers, they can't tell you about these AI data centers because they didn't really exist even a few years ago. All right, this is brand new stuff. Everybody is just on board. They're going crazy with it. And there's just a lot of secrecy. All right, let's do this here, and I want to get you guys talking here. Let's talk about this non-disclosure agreement. And Curtis, I'm going to get you involved in this too because you're actually in this clip here. Let me play a little bit of this clip here for a minute.
Be accountable on the line for over $1 million, and they can get out of it for $50,000 to $70,000. Explain that to me. I'd also like to know, was there an NDA signed by anyone on council?
What this lady is saying here is, for the first part of her question was that if the village backs out, it's going to cost the village $500,000 to $1 million to back out. But if the data centers want to back out for any reason, it's only going to cost them $50,000, which doesn't sound like a very good deal.
I believe I signed the NDA when we just.
Then she's asking, was an NDA signed? Was an NDA signed?
I need an NDA.
In the beginning discussions.
Why?
So hear what they had to say.
So what is not being told to us?
Nothing.
A non-disclosure agreement. That means that he does not tell us everything that is going on.
No, the NDA.
There is intricate details of the agreement that he does not have the ability to tell us legally.
Before we take the next person as a member of council, I want an answer, Mayor, as to why you told me that no one, including yourself, had signed an NDA.
Okay.
I never.
Curtis, this is you here, so I'm going to give you a chance to talk here. So you're asking the mayor, who is James Gesick, point blank, correct. You were saying, hey, you never told me about an NDA, which is a non-disclosed agreement. And that's where you can keep stuff kind of secret.
Told you that.
Lie.
No, now you're lying. So I never said that. We signed the NDA, I believe, in February or January when they first came out. We brought the council in our next meeting in March and discussed it in an executive session. And once it became public a month or two later, the NDA went away. So it was just.
All right. So anyhow, let's just recap some of this. So the NDA went away. First of all, I don't know how a signed contract goes away. But secondly, he is saying that, oh, well, I only did it at the very beginning. Of course, when are you going to do an NDA except at the very beginning of a contract to keep it quiet from everybody? What's your thoughts?
Exactly. And before I even ran for council, I had worked on a referendum in Perry Village here to slow this whole process down when this came out into light that they were going to potentially build this data center. Even the public didn't even know. And the question was asked before I ran for council. After I was elected to council, myself asked the question of the mayor, citizens asked the question of the mayor, and it was a flat out no. We had not signed this. We have not signed this. We didn't want to sign it, and it just kept coming as a no. And finally, in this meeting Thursday, it bore fruit. The amount of people coming and asking the questions that this was in fact signed, and it kind of ticked me off that you had lied to me and so many of my constituents over and over and over again about this. I think the ultimate, I put on the agenda on Thursday to support as the village House Bill 695, which is now currently in committee, to ban local officials from signing non-disclosure agreements in any public matters. And I went one step further that if the General Assembly does not do that for the state of Ohio, that Perry Village will self-regulate and stop the mayor and its own council from doing so. Because to me, if you, even as a company, if you want to come here, if you want to do those things behind the public's back, I don't know what else you're going to do as a company so that's going to be fair dealing.
Okay, House Bill 695, you're saying is in committee right now. And that is to get rid of these NDAs, especially when for data centers. Is that right?
The Ohio House Bill 695 would prohibit local officials, being county commissioners, township trustees, village mayors, and village councils from signing NDAs. Cities are a little bit different of a deal. They're not included in that legislation for the state.
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
Curtis, I sit on Timberlake City Council.
Yep.
And all we do is talk about Sunshine Law. Our mayor won't even let us talk about what kind of tree we're going to plant in Timberlake unless we have a big meeting about it. I'm shocked. Really, no, I'm shocked. The mayor has to announce every meeting he goes to. Okay? So I don't know how out of hand that got. Data centers is not a new subject.
Yep.
So it's obvious to me, sitting on city council, that this was held back from the people. I think Chrissy would agree. For a very long time. This wasn't just going on the last 3-4 months. This was going on a long time. And the Sunshine Law, and I don't know, there's a gentleman that goes around always going after villages and cities about breaking sunshine laws. This is like a sunshine this big being violated. Sorry, I just had to get in.
Well, no, that makes total sense, and it kind of moves our conversation forward. That the reason the state wants to ban NDAs at the local level is because they run totally contrary to what everything in Sunshine Law says. That you're not telling the public by hiding it in these contracts. And to me, when I went to introduce the legislation before the meeting happened, I was instantly given pushback and like, well, they have a purpose and they're good for things. And I'm like, why are we taking that track? I'm like, you need to be open with people. They put you there.
In this village, they would have come with pitchforks and torches. I'm telling you. What Chris told me, I'm sure Chris will go into more of how many people were there, Curtis. How many people were there, Chris?
Yes, there were. We had the petitions there for the new amendment that they're trying to get on the ballot to ban data centers that run over 25 megawatts of power a month. And people were lined up. It got crazy. People were lined up to sign them. And I think what people were most upset about was they feel like they didn't have a voice. There's a lot of people that did not know about it. So I'm in the township. And really, the only reason I know about data centers in general, a lot of it, I'm going to give a plug to our group that Nancy and John are also in the Lake County Liberty Coalition. We've had speakers on these types of topics and data centers and smart meters and different things and EMF mitigation and things. And that's really the only reason that I knew about data centers. And but there were certain people in the township, they had no clue that this was even happening at all. So they were very upset. They feel like they don't have a voice. And then because I was outside, so there were all those people outside while you were having the meeting. And as people started coming out of the meeting, they were talking about things about the NDA, for instance. And so now, once you lose the trust of the people, you'll never get that back. So there's anybody who's studied or looked up anything about data centers is going to find ill effects of them on, health, human health, animal health, light, how light affects biological processes of animals and humans, the constant noise, the EMF. You can find all of that. And when a public's concerned about that and find out that this agreement was made behind their back, you have to wonder if they're really protecting and supporting the community, which they were elected to do. And so even if you were to address each one of those topics of why data centers are potentially bad, if you were to prove that each one of those is going to make it safe and all this stuff, you've just lost the confidence of everybody. You'll never get that trust back. And so people are really upset. And Perry is a beautiful, close-knit, little rural community known for the nurseries and the farms. People have lived there and many years and raised their families, have come back. Their kids have come back there to raise families. We don't want it there. And it doesn't belong there. It's very close to the schools. It's very close to residential homes. And just from reading some of the information from the village that I started reading once I found out about it, it seems like very, poor excuses for having it. It seems like the only benefit they're talking about is tax revenue for the schools. So that's a whole nother thing. It's like, didn't you just raise our property taxes? The majority of which go to the schools, so.
Right.
I mean, just, and then they're talking about, well, if there's tax abatements, then there won't be any tax revenue because they won't be paying property tax. So there's too many things that have totally destroyed the trust of the community.
All right, I want to talk about this pilot stuff here. Maybe we get John in for a minute. Oh, I
Yes.
saw a clip where the mayor said that it was looking at the income aspect, wanting to do something with the unused land, blowing off or being totally unaware of the ill effects of the centers.
He's jumping in
there's
the
all
lake.
kinds- yeah. All right, John, you jumped in a lake. You don't have to take us literally, okay? But
You want to see the sunset?
all right, so the pilot program, just so people understand, is payment in lieu of taxes. Payment
Correct.
in lieu of property taxes or something. All right. Now, what I gather from it is you don't enter into a pilot if you are the data center unless you're going to get something for it. All right. So it's a way for them to pay less taxes. Would you agree with that?
Well, what it is they're paying the taxes, but it's almost like a bait and switch. What they're doing is this. They're saying, you give us the abatement for the other 30% that we're given a tax abatement for the property tax part. This way, that burden will fall on the other businesses and residences that live there because, again, the levies that are collected to the schools, they collect the full amount. They just basically collected a certain percentage from the people, depending how many people they have and the valuations and so forth. That's all that rigged formula they have. But anyway, so what they'll do is say that 30% that they are paying, they'll say, give us an abatement on that. The schools and the municipalities will still get their money from that because the other businesses and residents will make up that amount. But we'll give you that amount in addition to, it's called a pilot, payment in lieu of these taxes. And it'll be like above and beyond. So it's like, here, you're getting extra money. So for example, if they're to pay $500,000 to the school through that property tax, they'll say, well, here, you give us an abatement on that $500,000, which the businesses and the residents will pick up, and then we'll give you this $500,000 here. That goes right to the bottom line. So that's how they're doing this now with this abatement. And they're running this whole scenario. I met with the mayors and managers of Northeast Ohio, and they're putting on these presentations. I think it was a guy he must have been from Amazon, because first of all, they're saying, well, we need to compete with China for AI. Okay, what does Ohio have to do? And then they go, well, Ohio's part of the grid, which is 13 state conglomerate, PGI, the grid. So they go like, and if we don't do it, another state does it, we'll lose out because it's still coming off of that same 13, that same grid and so forth. They use all these bait and switches, and then they're trying to say, well, there's enough power, and that's the other problem. The power is only for a certain area, and when they take that power, they have to be running first because again, they run the hospitals, the fire, the EMS. And they're going to say, we have to be connected first, and all the residents will be without power. You got the water, all that. But getting back to the payment in lieu of taxes, that's how they bait and switch it. They're basically doing that now with that perk and to get into there, and they're using that money now like they're going to do now with Perry to say, here, we'll give you this pilot money, make it very lucrative. Look, you guys can get millions of dollars here, and because you don't have any other revenue coming in, so you don't have to raise taxes, or this will replace the property tax that when we get the amendment passed. I mean, these are the things that they're going to use, but that's pretty much what it's all about.
Let me go to Curtis here for a second. Curtis, so the pilot program, do you know anything about that connected with the data centers there in Perry?
Yeah, we are going to have a presentation. Nothing's come to us yet, so I don't have anything as far as numbers, so I can't speak to that. I did ask some questions, just like, because I know that school funding is a huge thing in Perry here. Before I after I was elected to council, I was going to sit at the school board meetings, of course, to find out what was happening in that sphere, so that I understood from a funding standpoint for them. And I had spoken to the fiscal officer there so that I could understand kind of the nuts and bolts of how Ohio taxing works for schools. And I was given some information in terms of if you abate taxes in the state of Ohio within a local community, that ultimately that money at the state level ends up being like what they would almost consider ghost funding for you. So say you increase property value by the proposed $1 billion that this data center would do. If you were to say abate that at 100%, the state would look at you and say that you have $1 billion more in tax valuation. So they would withdraw their level of funding that they would send you and say you should be collecting it from the owner of the property. So we're not going to give that to you from Columbus. It's your fault that you made the decision to abate 100% of that. So the school's funding doesn't work like just the money coming in. It's based on property values within your locale, and then the state determines the threshold of how much they're going to send you. And if you abate that, that's on you as the municipality at that point. And the way that this was presented to Perry was that between our school, our fire district, our libraries, the village, the township, everything that goes to Lake County, they would be paying $18.5 million roughly on $1 billion in valuation. And it was presented that nobody's asked for an abatement. We haven't heard anything, and that's what the sell was. And now suddenly the NDA thing comes out. Now the abatement pilot program's coming out, and it's like, well, that wasn't genuine at all.
Yeah, It's very, very confusing. It's very confusing because it's a bait and switch type game. It's just another way to confuse citizens so that they don't ask questions because you don't know what to ask. So this pilot program, if I'm even hearing it correctly, the data center gets some kind of tax abatement. The state will say you should be getting that taxes, and they would deduct what from the schools? What they give to the schools?
Yeah, so school funding is very complex in Ohio. And from the way the fiscal officer at the school board explained it to me is the way we sit now, right? We're given a certain amount of funding based on our property valuation. So say that's $1 billion, just for ease of math, and the state gives us $1 million or $100 million in school funding, right? If we bring in a project that raises our property valuation to $2 billion through all of Perry, the state would then reassess that and say, okay, we're only going to fund you now at $50 million because your property value is double what it was, expecting that we would pull that additional revenue from the owner and developer. If we abate that, the state's still only going to give us $50 million and say, you gave the rest away, that's your problem.
Okay, so where do you come up with the other $50 million then?
That's the problem.
Right. Probably the taxpayers, right?
Taxpayers.
The
Exactly.
community.
The levy.
Property owners.
Yeah,
Yes.
can
The
I
tax
chime in,
people.
Joe?
Everything comes back to
Right.
the tax man, for crying out loud. All right, what's
Right.
up?
Yeah, Curtis has educated me, and I appreciate it very much, Curtis, because I could not understand why the state of Ohio viewed the city of Wickliffe as a very prosperous, community, and the amount of state funding for their schools is much lower than what I would expect. But what I'm going to check into now is what Curtis is saying. They've got places like Lubborzall. If the city has provided tax breaks, property tax breaks to Lubborzall or to other businesses in the community, what that has done is it's pushed it onto the taxpayers. So now you've got taxpayers in Wickliffe that are being absolutely priced out of their home, and it may be one of the reasons, may be exactly what Curtis is saying, is that the politicians have given the businesses like Lubborzall big tax breaks. And I'm going to pursue that just to see if that bears fruit.
All right, I got a question here real quick. So if Lubborzall is getting a big, huge tax abatement, or these data centers are going to get a big, huge tax abatement, when they reevaluate your home, they're taking all that calculation into consideration, saying we've got to extract more property tax money from your home to make up for Lubborzall or to make up for these data centers. and then they're going to price your house higher.
Yeah, and also the amount of money actually coming from the state is going to be less. Curtis is right. It's there's probably only one or two people in the state that understand the actual funding formula for public schools. But if you just take a look at the numbers and you compare, what the state is providing Wycliffe schools versus a Kirtland schools or some of the other more affluent, communities in Lake County, something is wrong, but I couldn't figure it out. But now Curtis has pulled the curtain back on that for me, and that's something that I'm going to pursue and find out.
Probably the easiest way to find them, because most of these are done in what's called a CRA, or like a community rehabilitation area, where they'll give certain abatements to like redevelop or upgrade areas. And I believe they have to be registered with the county auditor.
Okay, I'll pursue that with the auditor.
All right, let me just so I understand here. So, because this is another wrinkle I was not aware of. So the property tax, our property taxes could go up if there's a data center put in there and they're getting tax-free, property tax-free abatement. The state is going to deduct money to the schools, and then what is the appraiser, the county appraiser, going to do that? Raise the house so that they collect more money, or what?
Ultimately, there's a millage floor that the state would collect to. But what happens is there's going to be a shortfall in budget, right? Because the state is now reducing its money. The school is likely going to come back and say, we need a levy. So what will happen is they will come request a certain millage in the levy, and then that'll be assessed across all of the properties.
I see.
And if you're at 100% abatement, you pay nothing.
This is unbelievable. And I'm glad you guys brought this stuff up. And I think John was saying that too. I don't know if John is still with us. Did John go swimming? Did he?
He's always with us. He's like the Holy Spirit. He's like the Holy Spirit.
I want to see his head pop out from behind again.
John. Good. Come out of the water, John.
All right.
The power of AI. See that with the data center can do.
Yeah. There he goes. Broop. All right, he's out of there. All right, let's talk about some of the other things with these data centers, because in lieu of the taxes, which again is complicated, deliberately done that way, pilots shouldn't be allowed. Why? The tax abatements should not be allowed. This is putting a burden on us. It's putting a burden on the taxpayer and these trillion-dollar companies like Apple and Amazon and all that. They're trillion-dollar companies now. They're getting off scot-free.
Well, may I ask you something? Curtis, and I know Chris, you were both at the meeting. I'll go with you first, Curtis. What did they say the benefit would be to Perry? I don't see any right now. Very minimal jobs. No taxes. Sounds like, pollution of the water. Sounds like a great thing to have in my backyard. What was the benefit?
Well, the way it was presented to the community was the benefit was the income that was going to come, right? And that the way that this is playing out now is it's not materializing, and I have huge frustration. We got a town hall, and this was presented as the Perry's and the county are going to get $18.5 million, and that was that, and we could buy anything we wanted with all this money, and we would ride off into the sunset. No pun to the lake there.
Yeah.
But that's not materializing.
Nothing concrete. Nothing believable.
No, and I have not seen any numbers as far as what we're going to request as far as a pilot / abatement, because they kind of come together. You ask for the pilot at the same time you ask for the abatement.
So, Chris, what did you hear? Chris, you were having a petition signed, and you were quite successful at it, correct?
Oh my gosh, people were lined up. It got crazy.
Did anyone refuse to sign it?
No.
Okay.
No. Mm-mm.
Okay, so no one's convinced.
No one's convinced.
I watched the video, and I didn't see anybody who came up to the podium that was in favor of the data center. It seemed like it was unanimous. Everybody wanted more information. They want some accountability. Watch
The data
this a
center
second.
project was approved with very little meaningful community input and engagement. Whether there were meetings about this or not, many of us didn't know, were not adequately informed, or only heard about
We weren't adequately informed. We didn't know about the meeting.
it after the fact. People are tired of being told what's best for them, and instead of being asked what's best for them. They're tired of decisions being made first and half-assed explanations coming later. We demand transparency, we demand accountability, we demand a seat at the table in our own community, and we, above all, deserve answers. The data center project was
Yeah, I don't think
approved
that's
with
too much to ask for. They want answers. And it can't be this propaganda that's coming from the data centers, telling you just how great everything is going to be. We know the water usage is going to explode as to what they're going to use. Let's look at Perry for a minute. The reason it's in Perry is because you got Lake Erie right there, and you also have the nuclear power plants right there, and they're going to tap into that nuclear power energy probably more than they're letting you know. But that's why. And then the land. They're going to suck up the land because it's cheap land. But we don't know what the ramifications are of some of this stuff. The facilities, I'm getting this off the Ohio Register. Jeff Skinner put this out. And it's funny because I've had Jeff on the podcast before, and I was going to say, hey, maybe you want to come on or not. And then I look, he already wrote up a story about it. But these facilities guzzle water for cooling, often millions of gallons daily, and it evaporates, leaving behind concentrated salts, minerals, biocides, and other contaminants in wastewater discharge. Many rely on PFAs, which are forever chemicals, in the cooling loop and fire suppression system. These compounds, they don't break down. That's why they call them forever. They bioaccumulate in water, in soil, and in the human body. And they've been linked to cancer, reproductive issues, immune system damage, kidney problems, liver problems. And the wastewater from the data centers can carry them straight into the local treatment water plants where they persist and they spread. But nobody's talking about that stuff. And I think that the people at the meeting, would you agree with that, Chris? The people at the meeting, that's the kind of stuff they want to hear about and get the information from, and that's what's being hidden.
Exactly. Yeah. There's several concerns that they want answered, and I was appalled when somebody brought up the environment and wildlife, and they were talking about the fact that the lights will be on 24 hours a day, and that has effects on, bird migration and different animal behaviors and functions and stuff like that. And I was appalled. The mayor he was talking about when he went to visit one of the data centers in New Albany. And he said, right outside the building, I saw a bird, I saw a squirrel, as if there should be no concern because he saw some animals there. And I was really very disappointed. I just couldn't believe that was his answer.
How demeaning is that? That's ridiculous. And just say a lady here. How demeaning.
Exactly. I think each concern should be considered, and that they should be looking into this. So it's my understanding, Curtis, correct me if I'm wrong, that part of this process is that the developer does, I guess, their due diligence, and I was trying to look up what that means, and it just sounded like the due diligence is the developer making sure that everything is okay for them to build. It has to do more with, geoengineering of the ground and whatever's necessary to make sure it's stable and the infrastructure and stuff like that. But I think what the community needs is due diligence on our part to get all of the research and all of the ill effects, because looking at the website and some of the documents from the town hall meeting, which I'm not sure when that was, but I did see that there were some questions and some documents, and just some of the ways that the questions were answered seemed like they didn't dig very far. There was one that was on the EMF effects on health, and the first reference was from 1999, which you know, we weren't talking about these mega data centers back then. So to even include that was, to me, just either a lazy answer or you don't care to dig very far.
Let me say one thing real quick, Chris. I was looking at information on the web, you know, and whenever you get anything that long ago, they mix it. It's real confusing. They're mixing it. We don't care about those types of data centers. We are concentrating on these massive ones. This one in Perry is over 220 acres. That exceeds 160 football fields. It's massively huge, and but it's AI. Okay, it's a whole different category, and that's the problem there. We're into a whole new category, Curtis. That nobody has any answers.
Like I dug back through like the presentations that were given, and there's not even, in terms of electrical use, an actual estimated megawatt usage anywhere.
Yes.
That I can find. There's no number of what we project this to look like.
Do you know how big this data center is going to be?
I mean, I did
not size wise, but I mean,
well,
how many megawatts or whatever?
I actually met with the developer since I was seated on council, right? I thought that was the appropriate thing to do, and I needed to talk to them, right, so that I had a face to face. And I asked them, I'm like, what is? I know you don't have a site plan, but what is your intent as far as buildings, right? And they told me 6 buildings.
Yeah.
On this 220 acres, 20 acres.
Right.
And I did some research on what would be a 25 megawatt data center, right? Like how big does that need to be? And based on what they were giving me, I'm like, this is going to exceed 100,000 square feet in 6 buildings.
You know what? The thing too is, even if it's even with the 6 buildings, you're still only utilizing about a third of that total 220 acres. Mm-hmm. And from what I understand, they buy these massive plots of land so that they can expand. 10 years from now, they could double the size if they want to, because they've already bought the land. Here's another.
AI keeps on expanding. It's the monster that you got to keep on feeding. You have to keep on feeding the monster. And the more you use grok, the more you use AI, you're feeding the monster. And the monster needs to grow. We keep on feeding it. And we're feeding our own surveillance system.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering about too. Brian, are we like cutting our own throats here? I mean, AI, they're going to take over the world, these robots.
Well, I'm really disappointed in the mayor. I've always believed honesty, integrity, and transparency are the keys to good governance. He obviously does not believe in that. And if I happen to live in that community and I found the mayor lying to me, I don't know if you can recall him or anything, but I certainly would be calling him out. As far as the data centers, I mentioned to you before we started the show that I've got some documentation here that shows that when these data centers go in, the cost of electricity to the homeowners goes up 267%, and that's just not acceptable. And so for Amazon or any of the owners of the data center to say to the community, well, we're going to give you millions of dollars that you can buy some new fire stations or new fire trucks or anything like that, that doesn't appeal to me at all. What they should be doing is what's in the best interest of the citizens of the community. Period. Paragraph.
Curtis, may I ask you, how long did you know this was going on? Because you did your due diligence, you met with them, you try to put a stop on that.
So I actually found out about it in June, the very end of June of 2025. Mm-hmm. And when I found out about it, it had gone through the planning commission for the village here to actually change the zoning for the land. Mm-hmm. And that zoning ordinance was passed by the village, and I did some looking, and it's like, okay, we have 30 days, right, that we can run a referendum to pull this to the ballot. And it was, I knew that stopping the zoning necessarily wasn't going to stop the project in its tracks, but it would at least slow it down so that we could start to get information out. Well, we really didn't have 30 days. We had 15 from the date that the meeting was and when it passed. And we were able to pull 3 times the signatures we needed in order to get that to the ballot. So we had pulled that. It would have been brought to the ballot, but the council went back and repealed that ordinance for zoning
Wow.
on I believe the very next meeting after it was certified by the Board of Elections in Lake County. One thing that was actually good that came out of that as a zoning whole for the village, it's much tighter than what the original zoning would have been. So we have much more specific code in zoning for any type of mixed use across the board. So we did get a little bit of a win out of that in terms of the zoning that we have in place now, because there was really nothing. But it unfortunately couldn't do anything to the contract because that had already been authorized and signed, and that was done in June of 2024. It was approved in an executive session, came out, voted, and started signing.
Executive session. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like anything to do with executive session and voting after it because most of the people in attendance to a meeting are long gone at that point because you don't know how long it's going to last based on the discussion of what you need to talk about.
Oh yeah, being on city council, it's. I know it's Robert's rules and how you do things, but it's crappy. Okay, I know that, correct? Executive sessions look like you're hiding something, unless it's something personal about an employee or something very sensitive. You don't want to embarrass somebody. I get it, but what you're telling me is borderline sunshine.
And I ran on slowing down the suspension of rules and making these things above board where as much as they possibly can be and trying to not do executive sessions if we don't need to because I don't like that type of politics. I never have.
Because Chris, you being an actual citizen, when did you know all this was going on? Like, when did you first?
I remember hearing that, they want to put one in Perry. And I do remember hearing that, I think I tried to Google some information just to see where are things at. And I do remember seeing that there were some zoning issues and there were some things that they had to do with the zoning. So
4 months ago, 5 months ago, do you know? Do you remember?
I don't. I mean, it was somewhere in 2025 when they were doing something with the zoning.
Okay, 25.
But, I guess I thought that too, that somehow I got the impression that there would, people would be allowed to vote on it. Somehow that the community had some sort of input. So I kind of knew that it was going on, but I didn't really know any details. And I don't know if I didn't, know enough to, that it's moving forward or that people wouldn't get a say in it. I was very shocked to find out that some people on Tuesday had no idea about it. They didn't know anything about it. They felt like they didn't have a voice. They felt like it was done behind their backs. And, so the community's very upset.
But the point is, it was done behind their backs.
Right.
That's why they're feeling that way. And I want to there's one last clip from that meeting, just to show you, no offense, Curtis, but it just doesn't sound like anybody really knows what's going on.
Are you going to bring this to a vote of the people? Yes or no?
I can't.
His first question is, are you going to bring this to a vote for the people? And the mayor is saying, I can't answer that.
Can't answer that.
Sir?
I'd rather hear from the village residents than the township people.
And the reason he can't answer it is because the guy that asked the question was from
the township,
Perry Township.
Yes,
he goes, I'm only here for Perry Village.
As if it doesn't matter that the township is involved too. I know. I couldn't believe that.
All right, next. Watch. This gets even better yet. Here we go.
Everybody's new and everybody else is retiring.
A lot of learning.
Now, this lady here to the right wearing the black sweater, she's a council person, correct, Curtis?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm educating myself, and I might be wrong, but I think
I might be wrong. Now, she's trying to explain something here. I might be wrong, which means that she doesn't know for sure.
Think that company is done with due diligence. Is that correct?
Yes.
The company's doing due
So
diligence.
now we move into the next phase, which I believe is called.
And then the next phase, which I believe is called, and then there's a long pause. She's waiting for somebody to tell her what it is.
What's it called?
Where?
Anyway, entitlement.
And here's the mayor. Here's the mayor.
For economic, what the benefits are. They're looking at presenting something to us.
The agreement is online if anybody wants
All right,
to
so
know.
the next step is going to be the economic benefits of the data center. That's the next step they're moving towards. But it just, watching the video, it doesn't seem like anyone really is on the same page here. Curtis, was all this done really in the dark? Were you aware of, how much were you aware of?
So this project actually had there were three different parcels of land that were involved in this, right? There was a portion that the Perry Village owned. There was a portion that was owned by Perry Township, and there was a portion that was owned by our joint economic district. So initially, when this plan was started, all three of these entities were involved in that process because they all had to come together to like solidify this land and sell it. And the township portion of this had actually already been completed with 30 days past, because I actually looked into it when I ran the initial referendum in the village before I was even on council, of like, when did the township do their portion? Because I wanted to search back, because I kept getting the question, well, can township residents vote on this, the referendum in the village? And I said, unfortunately not, but we're going to do everything we can to slow this down. And I had heard nothing about it until that point.
Well, that's not good. What?
No, and I actually live I'm a fifth generation in my house in Perry.
Everything sounds done, it was done under the curtain of darkness. It really does. All of it.
Yeah.
What you explained to me. All
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
This is one big sunshine law violation, mayor recall. I mean, it's all there. I mean, you know, and for the mayor to sit there, shame on him.
Well,
Really.
this is happening, and this is happening in Perry, but it's happening all over Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
And they like to put these big data centers in these rural areas, the township, the village, somewhere near water. And they've got, like I said, they're $1 trillion company. So they're slick as all get out, okay? So here they are.
Joe, I don't want to interrupt you. Where are the commissioners on this? Where are commissioners? Our commissioners, I've heard two different stories. Wasn't there a commissioner there, Chris?
Good question. Yes. Morris Beveridge was there.
Do you know
And
who signed the petition to ban data centers? Do you know? Do you remember getting his signature?
I turned mine into the lady that our lead for the area.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I think he signed it. I know his wife or whoever the lady was that also had the name Beveridge signed it. I remember seeing that signature.
That's promising.
Yes, and I wish I would have looked before but again, it was crazy getting the signatures, but he was, as the meeting, was going on, he was in that grassy area and he had a whole bunch of people around him trying to ask questions and trying to answer them for people, talking about, he's not necessarily for it, but, that the benefit would be tax revenue. And
Really?
yeah, and he
In lieu of tax.
and I don't know if he heard that's what he knew. It was hard to hear because I was in front, so I couldn't really hear what he was talking about. But he did post. You saw what he posted about, that people are concerned because they feel like, they didn't know about a non-disclosure agreement, which basically says that they were doing things in secret, and so he was there.
Okay.
And
so
he was
Curtis-
trying to answer questions and talk to the community the best that he could to get their concerns. And
Curtis, did you talk to the commissioner?
I did not, because I was inside the whole time.
right.
But
Yeah.
I will tell you that I actually signed the petition,
Great.
to put
Oh,
it on
good.
the ballot days before that meeting even occurred. I am a huge proponent of direct democracy in the state of Ohio. It is a privilege that we have that many states don't.
Mhm.
In
Right.
the format we do, and anything that we can put in front of the voters, no matter what the issue is, I will sign it to get it on the ballot and let the people decide.
Right.
Oh, Brian,
You know, because I
Brian would
just feel
like
like this
that.
whole thing is becoming a dark conspiracy. I watched the Channel 5 news clip tonight. I know Chris was out there. You got over 100 signatures in less than 2 hours, correct, Chris?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I was running out of petition space when our lead for the area showed up. I was like, boy, am I glad you're here. I'm almost out. I think I had 1 or 2 pages left to, to get signatures.
Okay. In this world of exponential information, Facebook, Twitter, Rumble, X, AI, in all this world of exponential, how many people still don't know about data centers? It blows my mind, right? It's still under the cover of darkness. And when Channel 5 covered it, shame on Channel 5 or shame on whoever decided not to. They didn't cover your petition. They just covered the people. They did not, I don't know if you guys picked this up, they didn't cover that there's a petition out there outlawing data centers. Channel 5 won't cover it. They didn't cover it. They covered her. They let it out, right? They didn't cover it.
Right. Yeah. He said, can I put a mic on you as you're talking to this person signing the petition? So he put a mic on me talking to the person, telling them how to fill it out, make sure it's exact. And that clip was edited out.
About the petition. There's a petition out there that people could get involved. To me,
right.
That's underhanded. See? I'm sorry, but I'm a conservative.
And even the picture, you don't see the people, like you can't make out that there's in that parking space a table with people signing a petition. So that link that you sent me today, you can't see that people are signing a petition.
Right. I met somebody at church. I informed her a little bit. She called me today. We got to do something about this. She goes, I knew a little, but I didn't know it was this, this bad. Joe, how much time we have?
Just a couple minutes here. We might wrap this up. We could always have another discussion on this again. You know what I'm really excited about is you guys got to have a town hall meeting. That's what you have to have in that village, a town hall meeting. I'd love to live stream it. And let's let the people air out their grievances. Let's get some real data and information. All right, hang on one second. Donnie Stevens, we should talk about what smart regulations we can suggest to better integrate data centers into our life. We do need data centers. Now, this whole discussion has been centered on lack of transparency, really.
Yes.
And that's really the point I wanted to get across from this. And we need to know what data centers are going to do to us if water and electricity power usage, they're building the biggest one maybe in the world in Portsmouth, Ohio. They're going to start ground digging on it next year. And it's a 10 gigawatt, which would use up almost half the electricity generated in the state of Ohio. That's how big. So but they're spending get a load of this. It's a Japanese firm. They're spending $33 billion just on their own power generator to power this. So we are talking about AI again, and we're talking about data centers that are so big and using so much electricity, it boggles our imagination. Okay,
and tax-free according to House Bill 96 too. So you know what I'm trying to say? Like, all this for what? Who's getting what?
Yeah.
There's
What's the long-term effects? And there's no information out there to help us with that. And I'll tell you what, I use AI quite a bit. I'm always talking AI. I forget sometimes that it's not a real person. But then I had somebody on the show who said that there's actually been 3 marriages to their AI robots. Did you guys know that? So AI is, it's kind of scary. Where are we going with AI? I don't know. And is it the future? Yes. But we have to make sure that we're not cutting our own wrist with this, right? That we're not going to pollute Lake Erie, that we're not going to come down with cancer, that we don't know the bad effects of all this. I'm going to get everybody one last shot here in closing remarks here. I'll start with you, Curtis. Any closing thoughts on all this tonight? And thanks again for coming on. And we'll you guys do a town hall. We're going to cover that for sure.
Of course, and I'm actually working with one of the council people to try to get a town hall together so that we can actually get answers and have full questions, because we got to get the format and thing hammered out. And obviously it'll be not at Perry Village Hall so that we can have many more people attend. One thing I will say, even though a contract has been signed, and its expiration period is somewhere here in mid-June, I, for one, will not be voting to speed up any legislation on pilot abatement, add extra meetings to make that move faster. It all needs done in the public after we're given what their proposal is, and that gets hammered out, and I will not speed that up.
No, and I
there needs to
appreciate
be
that.
transparency, and it should be in front of the people.
Perry resident here, but the non-preferred township variety. Wait a minute. The non-preferred township variety. This is horrible. Yeah, it's so confusing. You guys got townships, and then you have villages, and you have a North Perry and everything else. Thanks, Curtis. Really appreciate you coming on tonight. We hope we can have you on again. All right, let's get to the last thoughts here. Christina.
I would just say that I would hope that somehow it gets stopped and it gets shut down. I know that they, already said that they signed, that they would have to pay money to get out of it. But the bottom line is, there are studies of harmful effects of EMF radiation. There are studies about 24/7 low frequency noises and lights. The electric grid, or the electricity in Perry, there's some areas just the wind blows and their power's out. There's some of these developments with newer homes lose power all the time, just when the wind blows. But the financial burden to the taxpayers, it just seems like the challenges outweigh, the risks outweigh any benefit to the community. And as I said, at this point, the fact now that the community is very upset that this was all done without their knowledge and that they didn't have any say in it, we're never, the mayor's never going to get the trust back again. And so would you rather pay $500,000 or $1 million to get out of something and have a happy, peaceful community that you've had previously, or are you going to move forward and ruin our little rural community that we love?
Oh, great. Thank you again. And thanks again. Thank you, Christina, for coming on. And by the way, I really appreciate, helping me get this whole topic together and stuff. You were very instrumental in it. So I was talking to you on the phone and everything, just trying to piece it all together.
My pleasure, Joe. Yeah. Thank you for inviting me on the show.
Well, thank you. We'll give you some applause there.
Thanks.
Nancy, you're still with us. John's out swimming again, but go ahead.
Well, he's coming up for air. What businessman, not even mayor, signs a contract with a $500,000 penalty if it doesn't go through? Oh, I hope he doesn't own the finances in his house. Not number one. I gotta say that. Number two, okay? conserveohio.com. Mm-hmm. conserveohio.com. Put it up, Joe. It's the petition. Print it out. Very easy to become a circulator. We've done this before. We know what it's about. If you've been a tax abolishment person, know how to be trained to be a circulator. Not hard to do. conserveohio.com. You could press it right there, print out your own. So important. Number 3, start talking to your own neighbors about things, because I hope this gets out there, because when you really, first, okay, I have to plug myself. Lake County Liberty Coalition. We started this back in December and January. I try to have Lake County Liberty Coalition to present the good, the bad, and the ugly. I have the other side come. Chris, you understand what I did that time. I did have the other side come. They didn't convince us of anything, did they? The actual builder of a data center who supplies all the supplies and the hardware and the copper and the
Right. He's a salesman. He was a salesman for them.
Did he convince us otherwise?
No.
And my group was very polite. I said, okay, everybody, now listen, we have the bad, now we have the good side. He had nothing to convince us other than Ohio needs power. And he said, very scary, they're going to come anyway. Whoa. What? So, we the people,
Right.
as our politicians, and I'm a council person, I'm one of them, are not helping us. So, Curtis, good for you. I mean, they're not helping us. I don't know. I could be wrong. I haven't seen a commissioner take a stand. I've heard a couple of commissioners say it's a local thing. Well, I haven't heard it verbalized. I feel like that my husband, who is the mayor, we have an old power plant in our backyard, literally in our backyard. Our mayor, my husband, went to Eastlake because they own it, and he got them to put on their agenda in 25 no data centers in this old First Energy power plant. It would be a perfect data center right on the lake, right? Literally, but see behind me? It's just right there. Okay. Because we don't own our Timberlake, my husband with Ryan Conrad went to Eastlake and got them to put a 5-year moratorium. It should have been just a no. Why a moratorium? My antenna already go up like, where's the NDA here? Where has the talking begun? My husband is mayor, has called the developer 100 times. We've got a hold of him one day. It's like, don't worry about it. It's dead. It's dead. We're not going to build a data center there. It's dead. It's dead. But you can't get a hold of these people. Why only a 5-year moratorium? I don't trust anything right now because I'm hearing how many things go along with these NDAs. And so people the only people that are going to stop this, just like Brian and his good tax initiative, is we the people. Please, everybody, go to conservateohio.org and get the petition signed.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Nancy. Appreciate everything you're doing out there. And Brian, any thoughts on we're going to wrap
Yeah, I
up
would
this
agree
segment.
with Nancy. I'd get the commissioners involved. I'd get Morgan McIntosh and John Plechnik to weigh in. If they say it's a local issue, I want them to go on the record to say it's a local issue and they're not concerned. I can't believe either one of those gentlemen would back off and not help the people in Perry. I just can't believe they would.
Well, it's time to drag them in, and I mean drag.
Hey, it's up to the people, man. It's up to the people. Yeah, go ahead.
I have to throw this out there that your local politicians become your county politicians, become your state politicians.
That's right.
So,
they climb up the ladder. You're right.
Unless you have control at that level, you know what you're going to get once it gets higher. And
Good
it
point.
causes you huge issues that you can't resolve once it gets to that level.
Am I correct in saying that the sheriff, Liam Bruno, he did sign the petition?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I think he needs to be recognized for that. I think he lives out there.
You know, it's right behind his house. I mean, he's like right there. So yes, he was there and he signed the petition.
I know a Republican Central Committee member was interviewing people for the the interim position of county commissioner because unfortunately Bregovich had passed away. They needed to replace it with a new commissioner. One of the Republican Central Committee members reported back to me. They asked, I won't say his name, somebody running for the commissioner that became commissioner, and he said he didn't know anything about them. He had no idea what in other words, gave the implication he had no idea what a data center even was, and he was running for office.
Well,
so
we're finding that to be more and more the case. Even the state reps, you talk to them, and they're in the dark on all of this too. Well, thanks again, guys. We got to move on to. I got to get Hillary in here tonight, but thanks again for everybody talking and contributing.
Thank you, everybody.
And we'll have to do it again. Thank you again.
All
God
right.
bless you all.
Thanks.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, Kent, are you with us? Fill us in on, and we got Hillary Jackson coming up here next. Hillary Jackson. Don't go away, Hillary. Go ahead.
I'm staying right here.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. All right. Just make sure that we, everybody watching, follow us, share this also to whatever platform you're on. If you're on Facebook, you can also send us stars, Rumble, a Rumble rant, YouTube, a super chat. We will put those up and share them. We appreciate it. It does cost money to do this. We also are going to be doing the Ohio primary election night giveaway. It's $50. Amazon. Everybody can enjoy some Amazon money from OPN, and also it would be a great evening of trying to figure out what's going to happen for the general. So we're going to be covering everything going on in the primary that evening, and also do a little giveaway. Also, it's just going to be at our ohiopoliticalnews.com. It'll be right at the front. There's also a link. You can click on it and go and sign up. There's multiple ways to sign up to win. So take your pick and start right now. You can go all the way through until the day of the election and sign up for chances to win.
Chance to win $50, $50 Amazon gift certificate. $50. All we need is your email, because we're going to mail you.
And then there's also ways to, if you sign up as if you want to follow us on Facebook, X, we also do daily tickets, so you can, every day you can just sign on and click on it and you'll get another 3 chances to win. So yeah, just join us any way you want, but yeah, you will have to fill out we just need your email, and after that join us to try to win. Also, we are trying to, if there's anything going on in your area, I know I'm noticing that we get a lot of comments in Facebook about events or covering this topic. Keep doing that. Please also use Joe at ohiopoliticalnews.com or Kent at ohiopoliticalnews.com and send us directly any events that we can live stream, or any news that is happening in your community. So we appreciate it.
Gotcha. Thanks a lot, Kent. Appreciate it. Well, let's bring on our next guest here, Hillary Jackson. I got you down as OPN reporter. Is that okay? Because you have been reporting for us. You have been reporting for us. How goes it tonight? So you've been busy.
It goes. Oh my Lord, I've been so busy. I don't know what day it is.
Okay, so let's talk about how some of the busy stuff that you've been doing. I think the first one would be CPAC. Let's talk about CPAC, because you went out there, and what was that? Yeah. Dallas, Texas, I believe. So you went to Dallas, Texas to catch the CPAC event. So how was it?
It was not like what I was expecting. It was my first CPAC convention, so I was expecting, for it to be a very big patriotic event, full of like-minded conservatives, very much, the USA, USA kind of vibe. And that's not what I got. I will say that everybody was really friendly. There wasn't a lot of, there wasn't any issues or anything like that. But I think it would be fair to say that half, if not maybe a little bit more than half of the attendees were not from this country.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Would not have guessed that. Well, I got a clip here. Let's play this for a second. See what this. You sent me this clip from, and I think you took this with your phone, I believe.
And right now, I'm giving you a bunch of words. So, what about action? Well, when extremists on the left screamed, "Defund the police," I joined law enforcement. When the leftists shrieked, as they're shrieking now, "Defund ICE," I joined ICE. And when Hollywood said, "Oh my gosh, you're a conservative, you're canceled," I said, "You know what?"
By the way, Hillary, who is this speaking?
That is Matt Gaetz.
Matt Gaetz? Okay, Matt Gaetz.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And he kind of acknowledged it a little bit too. Obviously right now in our country, as far as conservatives go, we're pretty split down the middle. And a lot of that has to do with, the situation with Israel and Iran. Matt shared his opinion on it, but he did say that, when it comes to our movement and our beliefs, we have to be big picture people, especially right now with midterms. We have to stick together. We have to find the common ground, so that we don't lose the election in the midterms. But I mean, with CPAC though, they were finding speakers last minute. There were a lot of empty seats. Yes.
Talk about that for Talk about that for 1 second here, because I'm a little surprised too. I don't know where you were at during this event, but yeah, there does look like quite a few empty seats. When I've seen CPAC in the past, it was standing room only. You were fighting to even get into the room, let alone get a seat, right?
Right. So yes, and I was up on the media risers, so there's a long story to that, but I was able to get media credentials, and so I was able to see the whole room, and there were a lot of empty seats, and a lot of that from conversations that I had with other attendees is because nobody from the Trump administration was slated to speak, so tickets were slow, and they ended up. They were still trying to find speakers at the last minute. They didn't even start publishing their schedule and who they were having, going to be there until a couple of days beforehand. So attendance was definitely low. And from my understanding, they said it was because of the conflict in Iran and because the conservative movement right now is so split. We didn't see a lot of the really big names that CPAC usually draws in. I think probably the biggest name person that was there was probably RFK. But he didn't speak about anything really all that controversial. I mean, he's obviously going to talk about Maha stuff, which, is common sense. We're all pretty much as conservatives on the same page about that. But even the footage that I got from him, he was probably the highest attendance speaker. Second to, and this is why, I sent you some clips today, second to the Crown Prince of Iran. And now I'm not an expert on the situation, and my opinion might not be all that popular, but they did have him come and speak, and they sold tickets separately for that specific day at an extreme discounted rate, to the point where the hotel was just flooded with people from Iran, of Iranian descent, where I couldn't get down there.
Wait. Yeah. Who was the speaker? Somebody from Iran.
He's the Shah, is what they call him. I can't pronounce his name, and I don't want to try because I'll offend somebody. But they call him the Crowned Prince of Iran, and he was the big speaker on Saturday. And it was so chaotic that I wasn't, my friend that went with me, we couldn't get down there. And a lot of the people who purchased, the expensive, the VIP package, they couldn't get in because they had sold, I think $17 tickets for just that day for that speaker. And you couldn't go anywhere. Nobody was speaking English. You could not go anywhere in that hotel and find somebody that spoke English because they were all there to hear the Shah and to support, I guess, what's going on over there. And
that is strange, though. That's just
it was very strange.
Very
and
bizarre.
and all yeah, and it made sense as to why maybe certain people didn't want to come and speak. And you'll see in some of the footage that I sent you.
Well, I thought I thought you sent me this. I'll just play a little bit more of it.
American
Is this not what you
studios.
sent?
I'm going to do a podcast called Homeland, and I'm going to celebrate the United States of America, the greatest nation the world.
That's in the file. No, but the ones that I sent,
Joe, I have the Iranian women interview. Is that one?
Yes. So there's that's
Okay,
the
let
second
me
one.
play that.
Put it up, Kent. I'll play it.
Well, no, not that one. Not that one. So there's the one that says Iran at CPAC. That's the one that I wanted to show first.
Okay.
Okay. Because, like I said, this is in the main part of the hotel at a conservative American conservative convention.
All right, Hillary, what the hell's going on there? Tell me.
You don't see any American flags.
No.
And you know, it might be kind of hard to see, but those are all the people that were there, and none of them were speaking English. None of them were in patriotic get up. They were all there. You can see, you know, more Iranian flags. They were there for you know, to hear that guy speak, and yeah. So it was a little jarring, and the reason why I sent also the interview from the women that I spoke with is because, you know, as far as I was concerned, the people that were there, they were also there because they were celebrating and very appreciative of Trump and what the USA has done for their country. However, with this being a convention for Americans, for conservative Americans, I was a little concerned where like there weren't any Americans there, you know.
Very strange.
It was really strange. And I
that can explain a lot why the CPAC attendance is way down. It can explain a lot why we're going to get crushed in these midterms if we don't do something pretty soon about the whole thing. What is wrong with this Republican Party? I mean,
who's responsible for that? Who
that is Mercedes and Matt Schlapp. They're older. I don't really know. I don't know what they were thinking. Because I would have even been fine if a lot of these folks were wearing, like, you know, their MAGA hats or, you know, wearing American flag stuff along with their Iranian stuff. But no part of it felt like I was at an American convention at all.
So it didn't seem like the big MAGA movement, like you were saying. I didn't see anybody wearing the MAGA hats. I didn't see. No. Yeah, I've seen CPAC in the past. It's been incredible. The amount of people there, the MAGA, the everything. This is
Joe.
There's
something wrong, Joe.
There's
something wrong there's something wrong in the Republican Party if that's happening, and they let it happen. I appreciate Hillary bringing that to our attention.
It was everywhere. It wasn't like, and even what was so crazy is a lot of people were even bringing attention to when you were going through the hallways, you weren't hearing the chants of USA, USA. They were chanting, but it was the Iranian people chanting, blah, 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 you know, so you don't even know what they're saying. And it was Iranian. Wow. They were celebrating Iran. And again, I understand these people, they've been oppressed. They're finally maybe getting like their first taste of freedom in 47 years. I get it. But at the same time, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. So I have that second video of the interview that I did, and I condensed it, so it's pretty brief. But it really kind of gives you an insight to why they were there, what they were thinking, what's going on, and
Ken, do you have that? Do you have that video?
We are with some lovely Iranian ladies who are here, and they love Trump, and they are so glad that he got rid of that bastard Ayatollah.
Yes, we definitely love President Trump. He's kind of our prophet. 2 months ago, our government, our regime, Islamic Republic, killed over 40,000 people in our country, Iran, and a lot of young kids, young children, teenagers, were massacred, were slaughtered. We were really hoping a lot of the big countries like USA help us. People are armless. People are barehanded. They can't do anything. When they went to the streets to protest, government and regime started killing them very badly with military weapons. So we all try to convince the world we need R2P, responsibility to protect. And finally, President Trump heard our voice. Now we are hoping he continues and finish this regime, which is terrorist regime in entire world, not only Iran. If this regime falls down, not only our country, Iran, but also entire world will be free of terrorists. And every country in the world will admire President Trump that makes the world safe again. That's why they might not know the words now, but later, when they see the results, they will really admire President Trump's decision.
Thank you so much. We don't realize, those of us who were born and raised here, honestly, how blessed we are. And then seeing so many people, we've talked to people from all over the world, how important it is that we here in the States get it right, because the rest of the world depends on it. Who else is a better representation of that than what you guys right now are going through?
All right, interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what to say about the whole CPAC thing. I mean, it's nice, but I wanted the old MAGA. I want the rah, 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 USA, USA. Is this sponsored by the RNC or Turning Point USA? Do we have any idea on that?
Neither. It's funded by individual sponsors and private donors. The Republican Party actually isn't affiliated with it. So, I mean, those women, they were so kind and they were so grateful that I gave them the microphone, honestly. That we were, by the end of it, we were all crying and hugging. It was really, they were wonderful. But I will tell you, those women, by the way that they were speaking and the desperation that they were talking, it made it seem like they fled Iran and they just got here. They've been in our country, I want to say, she said 8 years. And the part that the camera didn't catch is she said that, once this terrorist regime is over with and their crown prince, is in charge, they're going to move back to Iran.
Okay. I mean, God bless them. If that's what they want to go back there and everything. Yeah, we don't really realize how good we got it in this country sometimes. Right. And we don't realize how good a President Trump is. And I'm really, really nervous with the midterms coming because I don't want him to be a lame duck president. And God forbid if we should ever give this country over again to these radical Democrats. Man, are we going to be...
Well, and what a missed opportunity for CPAC, because it's the 250th anniversary of our country. That should have been the whole focus of it, So I don't know if it's a matter of timing or if because everybody knew that the crown prince was going to be there. I don't know. I don't know, but that's...
So what was the main theme now? What was the main theme here at CPAC? What was the main talks about? What was the main overwhelming theme? Was there one?
It was Iran. It was Iran. It was the conflict in Iran, and we have to free the people of Iran. Okay.
Well, yeah, okay. And Trump is doing a great job with that. I mean, the war is going to be over before we know it.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not against it at all. Yeah. I'm not against it at all. I mean.
And they need it because that regime, exactly. That regime out there, they killed. Iran killed 45,000 protesters. They just slaughtered them. Yeah. And I talked to somebody who had a little bit of insider information. He said that it was so brutal that the ones that got injured, because obviously you're going to shoot into a group of kill 45,000, you're obviously going to wound a lot.
Right.
But they were going into the hospitals and killing the wounded. Going up there and just putting a gun to their head and blowing their brains out. I mean, that's how radically evil we're dealing with
When Trump said that he was going to annihilate the whole civilization, I was like, great. what can we put there instead once we turn it into a parking lot? So I'm right there with President Trump on this. I don't necessarily know if CPAC was the right place.
Doesn't sound like much excitement in CPAC. Does not sound like the excitement is there.
But there was, but I mean, there was a lot of really good things that did come from that. I did get to meet the CEO, the founder and CEO of the Teacher Freedom Alliance, and I'm going to be covering their summit in July. So that was awesome. They do a lot of really good things for conservative teachers. And then I was able to meet one of Elon Musk's really good friends, and in relation to what you folks were talking about earlier. With AI, he's actually going to do a panel with me and a couple of different experts on AI and education on X this Wednesday at 8:00 Eastern. So if you guys want to tune into that, we're going to be talking about Melania walking out with the robot that should replace teachers. So that kind of threw us all through a loop.
Well, that's the one thing I was thinking about was AI. If there's one category that it's going to replace like that, it's going to be teachers. Mm-hmm. You don't need teachers. Besides, the AI knows more than any of the teachers. You can just you could be self-taught, or you could one teacher through Zoom or something along those lines. But there was a guy that graduated, and he had his gown on and the hat and everything from college, and he took his laptop up there to get the diploma because he said that it was AI. He did all his work on AI, and that's how he got his diploma. But Matt, we were just talking so extensively about AI just earlier too, but we don't even know the tip of the iceberg, by the way, of AI. We don't even know the very tip of the iceberg as to what's coming. It's scary.
Hey, Joe, I would say one thing that I've seen about the war in Iran is we've exposed the NATO alliance and how they're not really supporting us at all.
Oh, no, they're useless.
So we could save
useless.
an awful lot of money by bringing a lot of soldiers back to the United States or somewhere else in the world, because they obviously they shouldn't be supporting those European nations that won't support us.
And none of them stepped forward to help. None, zero. What a disgrace! But Europe is falling. Europe is, from what I understand now, the Muslims are taking it over.
Yes,
all those countries.
I think.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's no border security. They're just coming in and just taking over.
Yeah, Angela Merkel and that bunch, they sold out the people, and I remember reading something. She says, "Oh my gosh, they're not assimilating." So this is all a planned destruction of, and we're fighting a basic spiritual war of good versus evil. I've been saying for a long time, if you want to see what's going to happen in the United States, just take a look at what's happening to Europe. I've been saying this for 10 years because it's foreshadowing what's going to happen here. So we're gonna see the same thing, happening in the United States. Yeah. And maybe not in my generation, but grandchildren or great grandchildren, they're going to be fighting those battles.
Because it would have happened a lot sooner if Trump hadn't gotten in either.
That's true.
Hopefully it doesn't at all. Hopefully
right
we
now,
can get some success.
Yeah, right now we'd look just like Europe if Kamala was in there, for gosh sakes. We would look just like Europe right now. We'd be invaded with the Muslims because we'd have open borders, and not only the Muslims, but all the other countries too. I mean, it would be goodbye to this country unless we had a civil war. It'd be goodbye. That'd be the end of it. And they're talking about a civil war in Ireland. Ireland, of all places, because they're the same thing. It's just they've been overrun by Muslims, and the government is just letting
I understand.
them in.
Great Britain, London has changed, quite a bit, and there's more Muslim mayors, throughout the United Kingdom. So it's they've created a real problem for themselves. So maybe I'm not sure King Charles really cares. As long as he's king, he doesn't care who the subjects are.
Yeah. All right, Hillary, what happened in Washington, D.C.? You were out there too. What happened?
Well, I was at DC actually twice. I think in the past two. Well, yeah, it was DC, then Texas, then DC again. But the first time I went out to DC, it was for Moms for Liberty Capitol Day. It was our very first one, where we had a bunch of representatives from different states go to DC to meet with their senators and representatives to a lot of it was to talk about our concerns, but also to encourage them to sign the parent pledge. So the parent pledge, if you haven't seen me post about it before, is basically where the representative or the legislator pledges to put parental rights first whenever they're voting and deciding on legislation. So it holds them accountable. So I was able to see Max Miller, and he signed it, of course. And so that was great for Ohio. We have one more rep that is vowing to put parental rights first. And obviously we're seeing Max do a lot of really good things with Ashley and Parma, and he's been pretty great. So that was the goal there. But also we do have an AI education initiative, where the initiative says, we want whatever regulation is put in place with AI, or whatever form of AI is going to be introduced in education, parents need to be informed. But but that was a few weeks ago. So much has already been changed and introduced in the past few weeks that it's looking like, okay, well, we might actually need to turn parental, informing the parents into actual parental consent. So we're kind of back at the drawing board with that. And I did get to talk to Bernie Moreno's staff about that initiative exclusively. So hopefully we'll have some more news on that in the next coming weeks.
What's it like in DC? Were you in the Capitol building? Where did you go? And what's it like there? Walking around? Are you welcome to just talk to the congressmen and stuff? Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, their offices aren't actually in the Capitol building. There's there's multiple buildings on either side of the Capitol, and one side is the Senate, and one side is for the House. And if you want to actually see your representative, you need to make an appointment. But their doors, I want to say the majority, at least of conservatives, because they're not afraid, are always open. So you can walk in, say hi to their staff, introduce yourself, and if your representative is there, then they'll come out and say hi. Obviously, if they're not too crazy busy or in the middle of something else, but it's very open and warm and welcoming in those buildings anyway. The Capitol it's always pretty hectic there. They have a lot of tours that they do all day long. So it's full of people, but it should be, because it belongs to the people. So it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful going into the Capitol. And I was able to get some passes to see the House floor and the Senate floor. And that's the best part, is where you actually get to be in the room where it happens. And they also will let you in there if you obviously have those passes while they're doing a vote. Last September, I was fortunate enough to be present when they were voting on the Charlie Kirk Act, like a memorial act for him back in September. That was really, really cool. But yeah, I love going to DC. It's a great time. I try to go as often as I can, because honestly, it just kind of feels like home for me. But this last time I was at DC, is my family got invited to go to the White House Easter egg roll. And that was definitely a once in a lifetime event. And I'll only do it once. It was great. It was great. They had the lawn was beautiful. They had so many things there, but this year they invited a lot more people. So if you have little kids or kids on the spectrum, it was kind of tough because you couldn't do everything, and there was just people were shoulder to shoulder the whole time. And then also I was surprised as well to see there was a lot of foreign people there too. It was like no matter where you go, You couldn't understand what people were saying. And I just thought that was odd. And again, it's not, not to be a prejudice or anything, but it was unusual when you were going to like a White House event at the White House and you're surrounded by people that don't speak your language.
That's weird. So did you get a chance to check out Trump? Were you close to Trump at all? Say hello to him or not?
I didn't, because he had to go do our slot was like the midday slot, and he had the press conference that he was doing on the conflict in Iran. So I missed him, but we did get to see Melania for like 0.2 seconds. But I mean, I don't know how anybody could have seen anybody, because we were just, and I'm short, I guess that doesn't really help. So I'm at like armpit level. So if there was, if something was going on over there, I'm oblivious to it.
Yeah.
But
oh well.
But yeah, it was.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. It's
beautiful.
it's once a lifetime. Well, I would say once a lifetime. You've been there twice in the same month. But yeah, it is great. Now there were a couple of questions, Ken. If you want to throw those up real fast, let's just read those off and see if what the chat people are saying. The chat people, I have voted my whole life as a Republican. I plugged my nose and voted never again. Yeah, I tell you, we have a lot of rhinos. We have too many rhinos in this party, and it is not going to be you're not going to get people to the polls. We would have to see who sponsored the event. Makes you wonder what their objective was. Weird content for a mid-year term year. Yeah, sure was. It kind of sounds like it was a flop, a major flop. Actually, I don't know. And was there any other questions or thoughts there, Kent? As we abort our next generations, the Muslims keep populating in all the Western countries. Yeah, Muslims are having 10
right.
kids each, man. They're having 10 kids, and they're coming over here and using our welfare and having 10 kids. How do you like that? Yeah, we're cutting our own throats again. And
as we say, we keep funding our own demise. I'm telling you, whether it's at the federal level, the state level, people voting for property taxes and pricing themselves out of their home. It's just unbelievable.
Hey, you were going to make a major announcement about the signatures. What is that major?
Well, we're going to have a press release. I'll get it out to the press probably Tuesday of this week, maybe Wednesday. That we will be speaking from a Lake County home that has a replica of the White House Oval Office. So we will be communicating to the citizens of the state of Ohio and to the state legislators from the Oval Office, and they're not going to be happy with what we have to say. Are you saying
Columbus? You're going to be downtown Columbus?
No, it's going to be in Lake County.
Lake County.
In Kirtland Hills, a home in Kirtland Hills, as they built a replica of the Oval Office in their home.
That's awesome.
These people did, huh?
Yep.
And you're going to make your announcement, just so we're clear, your announcement is how many signatures you have to abolish property taxes in Ohio. Am I correct in that?
Yes, we will also have another announcement. We will be signing an executive order from the committee to our legislators. So I'll just say that there's more to come on this, and we're calling out the legislators.
Okay, and that is what day again? Tuesday, Thursday? What was it?
We haven't. That just happened this weekend. We haven't. We need to finalize the plans as far as date and time, but we will invite the press and, of course, Ohio Political News. If you guys can make it, that would be absolutely great.
Oh, we'd love to be there.
I want to go.
Well, there you go. We've got our OPN reporter there. Yeah, we've got to definitely try to live stream.
Okay, Hillary, we can get an invite out to you.
Yeah, it's going to be in the afternoon.
It's going to be. Yeah, we're hoping. I'm going to meet with the homeowner tomorrow, and we're going to finalize the plan. So it's just. I wish I could give you more details, but we will iron them out with the homeowner, and we will. Ohio Political News will be the first one to know.
We should make it a game. Like people guess how many signatures you have, and if like whoever's the closest one gets like a bag of M&Ms or something.
Now that's a great idea. That would be a great idea. One last time, because trying to get information out of you is not like pulling teeth. It's like you would be the greatest spy that ever existed. Are you going to make an announcement about the signatures?
Yeah. We said we would make an announcement of the signatures. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Again, we're still collecting signatures, and what the politicians need to know is we will never give up.
That's right.
If we can't get it on, if we say, we've got 450,000 signatures and we need 413, do we turn that in or not? And we've got to decide that, because if we turn them in and they throw out 100,000 signatures, all of our work is gone for naught. And then, so that is the decision that we have to make in a couple months. And but if we make the decision that we're going to keep collecting till we get 1 million signatures so that we can get it on the ballot, legislators should know that that's what we're going to do, because we want our freedom and liberty back for this and future generations. This is more than a dollar and cent issue, ladies and gentlemen. It is a freedom and liberty issue, and quite frankly, our legislators don't care about the average citizens in this state.
Huzzah!
Well, Hillary will be there. We'll have Hillary there to do the live show.
I'm getting ready to throw my tea in the harbor, Brian.
Yeah, we're gonna.
It's funny you mentioned that, Hillary, because we said when we sign this proclamation, it will be like the Boston Tea Party, part 2.
Can we dress up as
because
Indians,
that's what we're doing. We're not playing games with these legislators.
Well, that's
the
awesome
people
to
have
hear.
had enough.
That is so awesome.
People
to hear.
have had enough.
That is so awesome to hear. Yeah, I'm glad. So one way or another, we're going to get these property taxes abolished, and if you don't make the cut July 1st, I think they have to all be turned in. That doesn't mean that you're not going to keep going.
That doesn't mean we're
close.
stopping it. Doesn't mean we're stopping at all. Not at all. But well, let me tell you this one thing that I found very interesting. I just found this out in the last couple of weeks. I've always said that Ohio was number 1 in aviation and 47th in everything else, and that's sort of the slam in the state of Ohio, because we don't have the leadership like down in Florida that they're looking out for the citizens. We're looking out for the special interest groups and the donor class. But I found out that we are number 1 in something. And that number 1 thing is as far as state funding of public libraries, the state of Ohio is number 1 by a long shot. And what they have done is they, until this last budget, they were paying more to the public libraries than to local government funds. Now, local government funds are the ones that they're using for police, fire, and roads. So the libraries, which are in 10 years are probably going to be a thing of the past, all these Taj Mahals you see for the libraries, it's because what the state legislators have done. They must have a tremendous lobby, and the donations from those libraries must be incredible to our legislators. So when I found that out, I said, we've got to expose this. So I've been getting public records requests of the libraries in Lake County, and I've been posting their financial statements and their compensation so that people can see. It cannot continue.
Wow. I'm glad you're on our side. I'm glad you're on our side. Right. All right, Hillary.
Well, people are saying, these legislators down there say, Brian Massey is so hard-headed. I'm not hard-headed. I'm just resolute. You can't push me off the freedom and liberty issue, because private property ownership is the foundation of our freedom and liberty. If people don't believe in private property, I say just take a look at the first tenet on the Communist Manifesto. It's the abolishment of private property, ladies and gentlemen. And you must understand that. And we must get it across to our legislators that our homes cannot be used as collateral. And what we're going to do, to quote Commissioner John Plechnik, is cut the spending. The public sector has outgrown the private sector's ability to pay for the services.
Amen to that. Yeah, we're all out of money. We're all out of money. You got any last words, Hillary? I'm going to wrap this up, but I want to thank you for being our OPN reporter. We got much more work for you to do, so it's only just beginning. And you got to cover Brian Massey's his news event. We got to make sure we break that story.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that. I guess last thing is, just one thing that I didn't mention, and it's a food for thought, because a lot of it, it incorporates with, with AI, what's going on in DC, maybe what's going on in the White House. Something that I thought was kind of odd. At the Easter egg roll, they had these little paper rabbit ears for the kids to have on, super cute. But then I saw that it was sponsored by Meta, and Meta just got sued and lost a big case, I think in 2 different states, for they found them guilty of creating content and making their platform addictive to children. So I thought that was kind of strange. Well, okay, if we know that's what Meta's doing, who made the decision to have Meta sponsor an event for kids in any capacity, but especially with something that was meant for children? I thought that was a little odd. The whole thing.
But you have such strong connections with Moms for Liberty, and with that whole organization and everything. So
we're flipping out a little bit. I won't lie to you. We're all kind of flipping out a little bit. But the good news is that despite everybody maybe having different feelings and opinions on AI, at the end of the day, the Trump administration has given Moms for Liberty a seat at the table. Tina is on Melania's AI team. So, even there are certain, even if there's certain things, like I said, that we don't see eye to eye on, she has a platform directly to, to the bosses to say, hey, this is how parents are feeling about this. This is how parents are feeling about this. So, as critical as I am, I'm also very grateful. I'm very, very grateful to the Trump administration, for giving Moms for Liberty that opportunity.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. God bless you and your efforts. You guys are real patriots, you and Brian. You guys are patriots, man. All right, everybody,
Thanks,
have a good
Hillary.
night. Thank you. God bless
Thanks,
you.
Joe.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.